Welcome back, everybody, back to the video. Today we're going to be talking about Fern. Does she need a buff? Let me know down below already. I already know what the comments are going to be saying. She does need a buff. I can definitely see every single comment saying that because that's all I've been seeing in terms of Fern. How she's very, very underwhelming, especially if you do compare her to Freerin. And it's crazy. Look at the gap, right? Even inside the content creator Discord is the exact same thing. People are asking for buffs on Fern. Let's talk about this character, right? So in my impression of her, I think she's just okay. Nothing special. Nothing special really. But we'll talk about that later on. Now let's talk about her artifact. Now I really do think her artifact is undertuned. While I do think it's nice and all, she gets a barrier, increases her attack for 2 turns. And it can be activated once per turn. Honestly, just get rid of the once per turn. Just give it to her where every time she attacks, she gets a barrier. And she gets, obviously, she keeps the attack, but you know what I mean. She gets a barrier, right? Just give her that every time she attacks. It's very underwhelming for what it is. Especially for a unit that wants Repulsal. I think tweaking this will be a step in the right direction. Now, let's go talk about the character. Oh man, there's a lot to talk about this character, right? So, let's talk about this. Right off the bat, I'm going to be saying this. They made a character that has the 2 worst things combined, and that's horrendous, right? So, Focus, in my opinion, is one of the weakest things in the game when compared Focus to Fine Spirit. I think Focus is just so undertuned. Any Focus character is pretty much terrible. Besides Afternoon Soak Flan. Sage Vivian, I mean, let's be honest, she had to be buffed so many times that she's mainly a good war unit. Urban Xiaoshu, pretty good. She's pretty good for what she is, right? But Focus is still, even though there are some okay units and one really, really good unit, such as Flan, I think Focus is just so much weaker compared to Fun Spirit, right? But not only did they give her the Focus, they also gave her another worst thing in the game, such as Evasion. She's a combination of 2 things that I think are very, very, man, yikes in my opinion. Focus and Evasion. So, let's get into this, right? This character, at the start of the first battle, she will gain 5 Focus. Alright, but when she evades, consumes 1 Focus and decreases skill cooldown by 1 turn. Okay, but the problem is, you can S1. It may be depending on the meta, but if you S1 right now, which you have to S1 because S3, you can't hit that right away until your Focus lowers your cooldown for your S3. You can rip S1 and your Focus can pretty much deplete, and you losing that many Focus, you lose your Evasion, you lose the speed, and she loses all her tempo that she even had to begin with, right? Because of 1 counter. Now, I do think they should add more ways for her to gain Focus, like give her 1 Focus every time the turn does end. That would help her. It's just that if she attacks right now with her S1, she can easily lose a Focus. While yes, she gains a Focus on her S1 and all that, but let's be honest here. You can just avoid this unit because guess what? She doesn't really do anything. She doesn't really do anything because guess what? Her S3 is at full cooldown. Which, in my opinion, if they were to tweak this, it might help her problem. Now, in terms of her damage output, I think her damage output is actually fine. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. I think it's just good, which is fine. I think it's fine for what it is, right? But again, her whole problem is going to be revolving around the Focus, because when she loses Focus, she loses the speed and she loses the Evasion. It's very, very problematic, in my opinion, that happens to her. Now, again, in terms of tweaking her, I really would like them to give her a little bit more. While, yes, don't get me wrong, the Evasion and speed sounds very, very good on paper, but as we've seen in the last week or so, using this character really doesn't feel that good. Especially if she gets countered 1 time. Let's say versus Setsuka, for example. She gets countered, and Setsuka procs her artifact. She loses 2 Focus already. So her evasion is pretty much cut in half, and therefore she can pretty much die. Because again, this unit is not going to be built tanky. You're not building this unit like Setsuka. You're not. You're going to build her some DPS, maybe like 12k HP, somewhere around there, right? But, oh man, just tweak her just a little bit. She doesn't need that much of a buff. She needs just a little bit. But again, those are the biggest complaints I do see when it comes down to Fern. Her focus is the biggest problem, right? Everyone says she's useless, which I do agree with, because honestly, without her having S3 right out of the way, it does lower her tempo quite a bit, because let's be honest, her S1, unless you are so burning, you're only going to be attacking one unit. Therefore, it's going to take some time for you guys to beat them down. But like I did say earlier, I think her damage is fine. I think it's fine. Her S3 damage is pretty good. But again, by the time you do get there to your S3, she may not even be alive by the time that she does get to her S3, right? Again, I just think this is more along the lines of her just being paired with focus and evasion than making a unit. I mean, again, I don't blame her for trying to cook with this evasion and focus, but man, I just think those are the two weakest things in the game. All right, let's be honest. Evasion is always 50-50. You either get hit or you don't get hit. You can literally just avoid this character the entire fight, right? But again, I will say there are times where she's perfectly fine in a draft. But I just think she's just a balanced unit. Well, yeah, if you try to compare her to Freerin, it's kind of Omega insane how one character is so broken and one other character is just very, very mediocre at best. Now, I do feel like her time is not now, but after talking to KHM and them inside of the Content Creator Discord, if her time is not now, when would she ever come? It's not, when you think about that, I'm like, maybe she does need a little tweaking. But do I actually believe she'll get buffed? I don't think she will get buffed. Again, I think her time is not now. That's how I feel about her. But maybe she gets buffed. I'm not really expecting it. Let me know down below what you guys think about her. Again, my thoughts on her is that I think she's just okay. She's nothing crazy. She has problems because I do think she's focus and evasion being the two worst things in the game. It's horrible. It's horrible. But I don't think she's the worst character ever. But I do. She's honestly usable. But she does need some perfect setup and some work. But there are some games and some drafts that does happen where she's actually best in slots, right? So again, it's just more like a little discussion video talking about Fern, where some of her problems and people don't like it. Again, I think she's just a balanced character, and it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks they did give her focus and evasion, but yeah, I think she's okay. But I could definitely believe some tweaking can definitely help her in the long run. But again, if they don't buff her now, they're probably never gonna buff her. But other than that, though, thank you for watching the video. Hope you have a good day, and peace out.